Hey, Lupa is coming back in the first half of version 2.7, and everyone is asking the same question. Is she actually a must pull, or is she just another hyped up, beautiful character that people will forget about in a couple of patches? Today, I'm going to break this down by looking at what makes her so powerful, where she shines the most, and what her limitations really are. Let's go! Yo! Welcome back to the channel. Kamusta po sa inyong lahat? Let's start with the obvious. Lupa is the queen of fusion buffing. There isn't a single character in Wuthering Waves that can pump up fusion teams the way she can. Her entire kit exists to make fusion hit like a truck. Even if you stripped out half her buffs, she'd still be top tier. But instead of being modest, she just went ahead and hoarded every possible buff she could get her claws on. Her liberation gives attack boost, which sounds basic, but then you realize that's just the appetizer. Against bosses, she hands out a fusion damage bonus that doubles if your entire squad is fusion based. Toss in her signature echo set, Flaming Claw Print, which cranks that fusion damage even higher, and suddenly the damage charts look like they're breaking. And then there's her outro skill, stacking on more fusion amplification and buffing basic attacks for free. Oh, and she also slices through fusion resistance like it's butter, maxing out at 15%. And yes, even her weapon joins the party with more damage bonuses. When you total it all up, she's giving your team a buffet of damage boosts so absurd that every fusion DPS in the game ends up glued to her side. God damn, Kuro! And that's where things get really spicy. Because she isn't just a stat stick buffer, she's also ridiculously flexible in team comps. Brant plus Lupa has become the gold standard core for fusion teams, and it's not even close. This duo can babysit literally any fusion DPS, whether it's Chang Li, Encore, or even Shisha. And if you're eyeing Galbrena, you're in luck. Even though her top setup leans towards Shui Yuan and Shorekeeper, Galbrena still runs insanely well with Brant and Lupa, either as a second best or close third best comp. Translation: unless you're dead set on skipping Shui Yuan, Lupa is still going to sneak her way into your Galbrena squads. She even enables quirky comps like DPS Mortify. Though, let's be real, nobody's out there building DPS Mortify without a sense of humor. But the fact that she makes it viable at all is kind of insane. And don't think she only lives in Brand's shadow. She pairs up with Shorekeeper in Encore's team to extend her uptime, giving standard banner players some much needed love. The point is simple. If you're running a fusion DPS, odds are you want Lupa standing right next to them. She doesn't just enhance your main damage dealer, she locks them into a meta core that will stay relevant no matter how the roster expands. Now, here's something that often gets overlooked: her defensive utility. Lupa comes with free dodges. It's not perfect since these dodges are automatic and can sometimes mess up your attack animations, but the benefit is huge. Getting hit in Wuthering Waves isn't usually scary because of the damage. It's because you get knocked back, stunned, or otherwise interrupted. Lupa casually deletes that problem by auto-dodging the hit. It's one of those things you don't appreciate until you realize how much smoother combat feels when you're not constantly losing DPS uptime to some random enemy slap. Healing might look nice on paper, but avoiding interruptions altogether, that's a different level of quality of life. Another big win for Lupa is how little she actually needs her signature weapon. Yes, the Sig makes her even stronger, and in monofusion comps, it gives around a 12% total team damage increase. But here's the thing: she's already so stacked with buffs that you don't feel crippled if you don't pull it. She can comfortably run Lustrous Razor instead. She gives her liberation damage bonuses that align perfectly with her kit. So for once, we've got a premium character who doesn't lock her entire value behind a must-have signature. If you're free to play or low spending, that alone makes her so much easier to justify. And then there's her underrated synergy with Brant. Everyone knows Brant's one weakness is his basic attacks don't have great AoE coverage. Enter Lupa with her grouping ability. Whenever she triggers it during a liberation, she drags enemies together, making Brant's strikes suddenly feel like cleave attacks. This doesn't just benefit Brant either. Encore and other fusion units get the same value. It turns out that enemy magnet plus massive damage steroids is a pretty brutal combo. But of course, no character is flawless, and Lupa's weakness is very clear. She's locked into fusion. Almost all her buffs are element specific, and the more fusion units you stack on the team, the more value she pumps out. Try putting her into a non fusion comp, and her kit just collapses. The resistance shred, the damage bonuses, the stacking effects, they all hinge on fusion. Which means if you're dreaming about slotting her into random comps just because she looks cool, prepare to be disappointed. Outside of fusion, she's not much more than an expensive bench warmer. So, where does this leave us? Lupa is one of the most specialized, overloaded buffers in the entire game. She doesn't just help fusion characters, she defines them. And if you plan to build any fusion DPS, Galbrena, Brant, Changli, pulling her is like future proofing your account. Every new fusion resonator that releases will practically beg for her support. The downside is that if you're not interested in fusion at all, then her value plummets fast. She's either the best investment you can make or an unnecessary luxury, depending entirely on your playstyle and team goals. And here's a tidbit bonus for you guys. Version 3.0, we might actually see another Fusion Broadblade DPS unit. So personally, I think she's a monster. In the right hands, that is. Brant and Lupa alone can carry an entire roster of Fusion DPS through basically any content the game throws at you. And as long as developers keep releasing Fusion-based characters, she's only going to age like fine wine. So, that's my take. Is Lupa the ultimate Fusion enabler? Absolutely. Does she deserve a spot in your account? That depends on whether you're chasing fusion dominance or planning to branch out. But one thing's for sure, she's not going anywhere, and ignoring her could mean locking yourself out of some of the strongest teams the game has to offer. So, if this video resonated with you, please leave a like for massive fusion buffs, subscribe for added crit, and hit the bell for insane gotcha luck. Thank you so much for watching. Maraming salamat po, and I will see you in my next video drop. Goodbye.